Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. We are glad that you could join us this morning for this webinar. We are very excited about it. We'll start in the next 1 minute or so. We give some people time to join. In the meantime, you can just introduce yourselves in the chat box, at least to get to know who is in the room. Due to time, I think we can just start. The agenda for today will speak a little about Invhestia. We'll introduce the speaker. He will have his session, and then we can have a few QA questions from the audience. But if you have any questions in advance, you can type them in the chat box. So before we begin today's session, let me briefly introduce Invhestia Africa Limited, the organization behind this webinar. We are a Pan-African investment advisory and venture development firm that works with entrepreneurs, investors, corporations, governments, and development partners to make better investment and financial decisions. And over the years, we have been in more than 33 African countries, helping businesses raise capital, conduct valuations, structure investments, and build stronger entrepreneurial ecosystem. To date, we've supported over $4 billion in capital raises, $3.6 billion in valuation assignments, and trained over 1,300 professionals. We've mentored angel investors, and it's this practical hands-on experience that informs today's discussion on how AI is transforming financial analysis and modeling. And it's my pleasure to introduce the speaker, Stephen Gugu, the co-founder and director of Invhestia Africa Limited. He has over 20 years of experience. He has advised entrepreneurs, advisors, investors, governments, and development partners on venture finance, investment readiness, financial modeling, fundraising, and ecosystem. He's also a faculty member at Strathmore University Business School, where he teaches entrepreneurial finance, serves as the academic director of the Private Equity and Venture Capital Program. And his latest initiative in AI is Chai na AI, a podcast dedicated to amplifying the voices of Africa's AI builders while accelerating practical AI adoption across the continent. Please help me in welcoming Stephen Gugu. Stephen, over to you.
Thanks, Joyce, and good to see everybody in the room. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. We promise that you leave with something tangible after the session. So let me just get right in. Thank you, Joyce, for the kind introduction and for introducing also our firm. So let me just share my screen here and then we can get started. So we're going to start first of all by just getting to know who's in the room, at least just a few expectations. We'll keep it quick. We have a tight agenda, it's an hour, and we want to make sure that at the top of the hour, everybody can get back to their day. So let me just jump straight into this. What the webinar is about is really just transforming your financial modeling using AI. And very importantly, we say safely, right? Because we need to think about the security aspects. So I'll kindly request if you could kindly just jump onto slide, or you can scan that code. And I think we can also share these on chat, the link for the Slido. Maybe someone can do that from the team so that we can get a sense of who's in the room and your quick expectations and what you're doing with AI already. And then after that, we'll jump straight to our session. So I'll just quickly share the other screen so that we can be able to see. Someone can share that, people who are attending, that would be very useful. Now we can share the screen. I hope you can all see my Chrome. Should be sharing something. Yes, so we have a poll there. Feel free to start responding. The first question is about just understanding whether you're using AI already in your workflows or not. And I'm seeing the poll is moving. So let's see what your response is going to be. A number of you are saying that they're using it quite a bit. Some are saying they've not started using it. And then for some, they're saying just a bit, kind of, some basic tasks. So we only have 16 respondents. So I'm going to request if we kindly get this to 50, we have full room, almost 100 in the room. That would be good. So that we get a sense of what you're really doing. And, we're asking this just to get a sense of where you're at, so that even as we go through the webinar, as we structure different offerings from a training perspective, we have a good sense of who's out there and how we should structure those sessions. So if you haven't already, you can scan the QR code. You can go to slido.com and just enter the yeah. Can you see my screen? I'm not sharing my screen. Okay, sorry, let's do this again. Technology can embarrass in the last minute. Okay, let me just share this once more. Okay. Just confirm you can see my screen?
Not yet.
Allow.
Blank.
Okay. Seems Chrome has started something different, yeah? Where you cannot share the screen as easily as it used to be. Sorry, let me just reshare that. One sec for that. Apologies for that. I thought it was already sharing. Do it once more. It doesn't look, just carry on. So start with that. Brilliant. Okay, now you can confirm you're seeing my screen. Jessica,
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Sorry about that. So we only have 19 respondents. So kindly, if you could scan the QR and just respond to this, I'll give it just maybe 1 more minute because I want to get into the session. So let's just say that by the look of things, we have more people using AI in the room and using it quite a bit than not in this case. So, okay, that's good. Thanks for sharing the feedback. So let me move to the next question because of time, because I really want to get to the meat of the session. Okay, wow, it's moving and now not at all. Okay, we'll get to the second. Let's move to the second question. The second question is, which AI tool do you use which AI are you using for your financial modeling in this case? Just curious to see what tools are out there. And the beauty about this is that, this is something everybody can see. And so because of that, it would be useful to everyone else who's attending to see what people are doing. So Claude, Anthropic. I'm seeing Gemini, quite a bit of Gemini. Okay. Okay, someone is saying none yet, but they've heard of Claude integration into Excel. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Claude is quite, and it seems quite a number of us are using Claude and Gemini. Okay, shortcut. Okay, that's good to hear. And there's Tracelate also. We have not tried Tracelate, but we have tried Shortcut. We're going to showcase a few of the tools. I mean, what I would urge everybody is just take a photo of this screen, if you don't mind, and just try out any of the tools you see here, because you'll find that different tools will work differently for you, right? Or for different tasks in this case. So I always say, you try out the different tools, of course, with non-confidential information. And then you need to also go back now and ask from an organizational perspective, especially if you're doing this for your organization, what policies do you have in place? Are there recommended tools that you should be using? And then apply those tools. But good to see the different tools here. I know of Tracelate, I've not used it, so I'm going to try that out to see how it works. Okay, let me move to the next question so that we can get started. Copilot, okay, that's the first one. We speak about the different models and how good they are in different financial modeling tasks a bit. Okay, so the last question, and I'm going to, and just humor me here. What's one expectation or question you'd like answered in this webinar, right? Just to see any key question expectation you have for the webinar. You can make it brief so that you don't have to type for long. And then we'll move on to our session. Okay, I'm seeing quite a bit of chats. Let's see if some people are chatting directly. Okay, I think Jason says he uses Claude. Okay, 2 responses. I'm going to show the responses in a bit. I want them to go to at least 10 so that we don't bias everybody. And I always say, or we always say in our training that learning more is not an expectation. Because we've already met your expectation by telling you of the different tools you can try. Be specific in this case. Okay, 6. As it gets to 10, I'm going to showcase what people are saying. Okay, so let's see, what are people saying? Which tasks, okay, I'm saying using AI modeling as a physical commodity trading tool. Using AI modeling as a physical, okay. Which tasks are practical to use AI for? This is anonymous, by the way, so feel free to share anything. I would like to know AI tools designed specifically for financial modeling. You learned that today. How to train LLM so I don't need to keep repeating tasks. You need to attend our training for that. We're not going to be able to do that in an hour. Training an LLM takes a bit of time. But we'll mention 1 or 2 things about that. Tips on optimizing AI in financial modeling. Okay, still I think around the learning bits and so forth and how to prompt better. Can you train an AI agent like Claude to deliver fully complete, fast financial modeling? Someone is trying to get us out of our jobs. We'll not answer this one specifically. But I think you can. I think you can. I think you can. I'm joking. I think you can. You'd have to spend a bit of time to do this, but I think you can. The one thing about AI tools that they get you maybe 60, 70% there. You still need to apply the final 30% or whatever, depending on how good the agent is. But I think it's possible. How to best utilize AI tools for financial modeling, efficient AI workflows, how to adapt AI efficiency. Okay, cool. Will AI take my job as a modeler? Well, that's a question we're asking ourselves. I think that's one we need to discuss, all of us, everyone on this call, because we are all interested in this space to see whether AI is going to be taking our job. I don't think so, at least not yet. But these other, which I think is an interesting one. How to use AI as a tool and not become lazy. That's a very good point there. And there's so many more here. AI in fast, should go to school back and so. My goodness, you guys need to come for a training. That's what I'm going to say. But let's jump onto the session. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts here on this. But these are really good questions and things to think about. So let me just stop sharing and just share our screen here. So I'm going to share my slides. This is not just slides, just to promise you, for people who are just like, I hope we're not just coming here to hear about slides. No, we're going to do something practical in a second. I just wanted to make sure that at least we have a good sense of the people in the room. Okay, confirm you can see my screen. Joyce, you can see my screen? I'll assume yes. Okay. I don't see any thumbs up, so I'm gonna keep moving. So the agenda for today is simple. We're gonna just do a quick introduction to AI because I think it's probably one of the most important bits for those who've not maybe spent a bit of time looking under the hood. It's good to just ask yourself, what is AI? How does it work? Then we're going to speak about how you apply AI in your financial modeling and how to decide when to use an AI tool and which tools you can use. So as you can see, we've anticipated some of the expectations that you had. And then we want to do a quick live demo. Hopefully the AI will be running really fast. So I want to jump into that really fast so that you can query and have it run in the background just to illustrate and then see the results at the end. Joyce is going to come back and maybe share some potential next steps with you if you're interested to pursue, more in terms of learning about how to use AI in your workflows. So Joyce will come back for that, and then we'll wrap up with some key takeaways. And we hope to be done at 12 on the dot. So very quickly in terms of AI, this one slide, I went for some training on AI in venture capital, and this one of the slides which had a very significant impact on me, right? And I thought just to share it. And really, I really like this idea of just looking at how AI is trained, because sometimes you hear AI is trained, but you don't ask yourself, what does that mean exactly? So what AI has, I mean, all the tools that we're using, the LLMs in this case, and we're using AI very generally. We have a resident expert in our team on AI, and he's always correcting the terminology we use. So today we're using it generally. But, it's the websites, the different websites, a lot of information has been ingested around that. Blogs, encyclopedias, public libraries, online resources, etc., podcasts, etc. That's how AI gets its information, right? So AI is not just this really bright kid that has just shown up out of nowhere. It's been trained using all this data. And of course, it's able then to take all that information, and the strength of it is that it's able to really summarize that information for you when you ask a question and to figure out what the answer is going to be on the other side. Very important that AI is not a person. There's no person who's sitting on the back. It's just mathematical models which are predicting the most likely, next word, if you want to call it, the most likely answer. And I really like this bit here that with AI, because it's a mathematical model, better queries will generally get you better results. Bad queries will not get you good results. And the second bit is that AI produces likely answers, not perfect answers. And I think it's very important that you have that in mind, that it's a model, it's a mathematical model, more probably more complex than what we create in our financial model. But it produces likely answers, not perfect answers. And so there has to be a human in the loop, right? I'll just say that because of time, we would have spent much more time on this, just to discuss a bit more things about AI. So in terms of thinking about when to use AI, we created this just as a way of thinking about the model for you to think about as an individual, as an organization, about how you apply AI. So the first thing is you should be asking before you jump into any AI tool, at least when you're talking about it for your job, right? Because you could do it on your personal basis, on a personal basis. You can do it whichever way you want to do it. But I still think it's good to think about some of these considerations. Do you have an AI policy guiding the use of AI in your organization? And the reason why this is such an important point is that the policy will ideally guide around which tools can be used, when you can use AI, which data can be uploaded to an AI tool, and so forth. And it's very important to start from there because you don't want to be going against what has been set as the organization as a policy. The second thing, if you don't have a policy, is I think you need to ask yourself, first of all, is the data confidential? Is there an NDA that's protecting that data? And if it is, never upload it to any AI tool in this case. Because the risk here is, and someone mentioned this we ran a podcast, and someone mentioned this, your data could actually show up in another search somewhere else. And people will be like, wow, I wonder how I got this information about a company X on ABC. Because the model will just pick from all the training data it has received, and part of the data you're sending is being used to train that, unless you explicitly told the AI not to do that. You might see that somewhere else. So if there's an NDA confidential data, do not upload that into an AI tool. Then mentioned here is that do you have a corporate sanctioned tool for this task? Now, this is something we speak a lot about. Any company out there, I think it's important that you have a corporate sanction tool, because the reality is, I think there's some research that was saying, I think 80% or something, 70 or 80% of company employees are using AI, but I think 30% of companies are using AI, which points to the fact that there's people within organizations who are using AI tools, but they're not sanctioned by the company because the company is not using AI. And so it's better, and that is very risky for the organization. So it's better for the company to just adopt a policy and say these are the tools we're going to be using, because at least that data is safe, or at least it's being dealt with according to compliance, risk considerations that the organization has put out. And then I would say the other things you need to ask yourself is just the nature of task you're working on. There's some tasks that you find the general models are okay with. ChatGPT, Claude, just they're okay with that. There's some tasks that you find that you need a properly trained tool. In this case, we're going to discuss a few of those, like Shortcut, like someone spoke about TraceLink. In this case, there's one that we use called Crunched also, which I think can be much better for those kinds of tasks. And the idea here to think about is when you're using Claude is a general purpose AI. It can do several things. My goodness, excuse the spelling. It can do several things. But when you go to these very specific tools, they've been trained on top of LLMs, and now they're very specific for doing something. The second thing is that, of course, you need to ask yourself, does it need drafting, research, reasoning? The general purpose tools here are important. One other thing that's important to ask is, should you be using AI in the first place for this task? There's certain things that you can just do the normal way, right? Just remember that for any task that you share with an AI, there's a lot of energy that's getting consumed out there. I don't know if you care about that. There's a lot of tokens that are being crunched and all that. So good to ask which tools are important, but those are other factors. So I would say that policy first, right tool second, and then human review always. So jumping onto this, some practical tips that we picked out when you're using AI. They may seem obvious, but just good to mention them. Number one, you need to prompt really well. As we just said, better prompts, better results. There's some different ways of thinking about that. There's this model of rocket. You give the role you want it to have, what's the objective you're trying to achieve, what's the context. Context is very important. That I'm doing this training webinar, I'm expecting to have people from across the world at different levels in finance, etc. What are the key constraints? I want you to prepare 10 slides, or I don't know, I want to prepare a financial model that does 1, 2, 3. If you can give it examples, even better. Someone spoke in the expectation, someone who asked, how can you get AI to give you better results in this case? I think if you have a good example that you can upload and tell it, I want something like this, usually works much better than it guessing what the output should look like. And then, of course, the target that you're looking at in this case. So that's one way of thinking about prompting, but prompting is very important. The second thing is this about the 10-80-10 rule, which could be 20-60-20 rule, whatever you want to call it. 10 being the initial prompt, the quality of the prompt needs to be really good. Then you need to then allow AI to do what it's supposed to be doing, which is the heavy lifting, the analysis, maybe the drafting, whatever it is. But then very importantly, and most people forget the final 10 or the final 20, depending of course on the nature of the task, that you cannot remove the human in the loop. The first 10 and the last 10 are really where you're coming in. You're giving a good prompt, you're allowing the AI to do what it's supposed to do, and then you're coming in at the end. Right? And then the other thing that we found as a good tip is you can switch models depending on the nature of the task. Right? If, for instance, you're using Claude, and we'll speak about that in a second, you'll find some of the models consume lots of tokens. Right now, I think they've given access to Fable, which is the one that had been blocked, I think, 2 weeks ago or thereabouts. And if you use that for a task, I don't know, draft for me this email, it's going to consume so many more tokens as opposed to using a lower model in this case. And so switching between different models for different tasks is something that helps you to save on your tokens, especially when you're paying for it and you're trying to get more out of the tool that you're using. And then this is also a very good one. Just always ask AI to just improve its own answer. Right? Don't take the fast response. To a certain extent, AI is like a human being, so to say. And when you tell them, when it does the first task and you look at it, if you tell it to improve, it will come up with something better somehow, or something different in this case. And so, and it's just a query at the end of the day. For something that's very important, I like asking it, you know what, improve. I don't think you've done well enough. Just do it again. And then you see what comes up. And usually then you can pick between the first response, second response, and third response and combine those. And then, of course, breaking big tasks into smaller ones. Today, I'm going to break this rule because I want us to move quite fast. But if you can, you know, go step by step, just imagine an intern you hired who's really sharp. You don't want to tell them, I want you to build the financial model, the PPT presentation, and the report and present to me on the first day, right? You want to tell them, first of all, I don't know, analyze the financials, they do that, build the valuation, do that, build the PPT, and you're providing feedback at each point. So if you can break things into smaller bits, that gives you better results. So if you think about financial modeling, in essence, this is the process of financial modeling. This is what financial modeling is about. You understand the problem, you research, and you get the source information, you input the data, you build the model, you review the model, you create a dashboard, you create the reports, and so forth. So there's several things you can do. Yeah, I'm being told I'm running out of time. There's several things you can do with financial modeling, and we'll share this slide around how to use your financial model, and these are some of the things you could do. So I will not spend time on this, but just for you to realize, you'll get the content of this recording so you can see it. But there's several things you can do. So someone who asked about the modeling flows, these are areas to think about. And then tools, there's several tools out there. These are the ones we've tried. And we're going to be using two of them today. We'll use Claude and Crunch, which I think are pretty good. Shortcut is also really good. ChatGPT, for example, is also pretty decent. So tool choice depends on what you're doing. For us, what we found out, Crunch tends to be really good for financial model, in my view, in our view internally. It's pricey. It's pricey. And so you don't want to use it for just, I don't know, review, input data in this case, or very simple tasks. You probably want to mix it up with, I don't know, Claude in this case. Shortcut is also pretty good, but I find that Shortcut is mostly good for investment banking and just for hardcore Excel functions, Excel. But Crunch, I find it's more wholesome as a tool. What I would urge you to do is probably just to try out the different tools and see how they are. And we'll speak about Crunch, which is something we support with. Okay, cool. So let's do some live demo so that we can get some good value out of today's session. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat. We'll see whether we get time to respond to the queries you have. So in terms of how we're going to do this, simple. I will open two different sheets and I will give two models, Claude and Crunch, two tasks. The first task I'll give to Claude, which will be to build out a valuation from a set of financials. Right? So I just have the financials, focus have been created, but I want you to build out the whole financial, and we'll see how that sort of like works. Then I will also do the same thing with Crunch. I'll give it a model which has some errors, and we can share these, these spreadsheets with you for you to try out the same query that we tried here. And then we'll sort of like see what it's able to do in terms of checking any errors in the financial model, the model review, and then creating a report out of that. Then we'll see how that looks like. The learning behind it that we want to get is the prompting element, using the tools iteratively in this case, and just getting a sense of the different things you can do. Remember 10, 80, 10, the results we're going to get are not going to be final. And then Joyce will invite Joyce in a second. So let me just jump into my session, then into that Excel really quick. Wow, time moves really fast. I'm having fun. So let me open this. The files here. So I'm going to share my entire screen just to make this easy, but I don't have to keep switching between different tools. My team is harassing me. They're telling me I'm taking too much time explaining too many things, but I'm trained as a teacher. Party, so yeah, I'll share the entire screen and hope I don't. Cool. So we have the first yeah. So I am gonna open this. So the first tool here, I would have wanted to spend a bit of time just so I'm using Claude here. I'm going to use Claude for the valuation bit. And I wanted just to illustrate one thing. For any tool that you choose to use for your financial model review, whatever you use it for, I think it's important to think about privacy. And so the first thing I would urge you to do before you do anything else, whether you have a policy or not, is please just go to the settings. And once you go to the settings, go to privacy. Very important if you haven't done this already. Under privacy, you'll see there's two items I wanted to just turn off. The first is location metadata. Allow Claude to use cost location data, city region to improve product experience. I'm already paying for it. I want to improve the product experience after that. I've already paid for it. And the second thing is help improve our models. Allow the use of your charts and coding sessions to train and improve our Anthropic models, right? So please just turn these two off, just to make sure at the very least that your data is not being used for training and people don't know where you are. I guess they'll figure it out either way. So that's important. So assuming you've done that, I'm going to assume that you have already been able to, and if you haven't, there's some videos on YouTube that you can use for this. But I'm going to make the assumption that you've already gone to Excel and you've gone under add-ins and you've been able to select the add-in, which is Claude in this case, and you put it in. So I won't do that for this session. And I want to use Claude first of all. I've already installed the add-in. I've already logged in. In this case, I've already done my settings, as I mentioned. And I'm going to just ask Claude to build a valuation out of this financial model. These are our standard fast financial model. So you have the cover sheet, you have the different presentation sheets here, the financial statements in USD and in KUS. You have a common size financials. The historical financials have been done till 2025, and then you have a focus from 2026. You have the inputs, which are marked here, input C and input S. So the assumptions are there. So, but there's no valuation. So if you look at all the sheets, we've not done the valuation. So the valuation sheet is not there. And so we just want to ask Claude to do the full valuation in this. So I've created a prompt, and I spent a bit of time thinking about the prompt in this case. So these are the prompts I put out, and I'm just going to take them and just paste them in. Now they've tried to follow what I mentioned earlier, the rocket approach in this case. So I'm on Claude at the moment. I have my financial model open. This is the MAT start file. So I'm going to paste my prompt here. And as you'll see from these, I'm telling it, study the financial model, built using the past standard, develop a DCF using the EV to EBITDA, develop a DCF valuation and an EV to EBITDA valuation using the FinStat sheet. These were the financial statements. These were we have the key financials for the company and so forth. I've told it for any key assumptions not present in the model, discount rate, terminal growth rate, etc. Do not assume, stop and list them explicitly for clarification. Then create a new sheet called valuation. I'm being very explicit in my query in this case. And format it using the fast standard conversion. Base the layout and structure on the OPREV sheet. I have an operating revenue sheet, so I wanted to copy this. And then I tell it to use the import-export formatting conventions. So I've told it it can use, if you go to my cover page, you'll see that we have here. We have some convention here that we use for fast. So I'm telling it to use that. And then, they do use clear sections in this case. Use the attached sheet as an example of how to do valuation sheet. Now, what I've done earlier is I've taken one of our valuation sheets from a different financial model, and I'm going to point it to that sheet. And the reason for that is what I spoke about. If you have an example, it makes it, the model doesn't have to guess as much. So I'm just going to add the file in this case, very simply here, flat files, valuation sheet example. And I'd already drafted it before. Of course, you want to spend a bit of time drafting this. And I would say you can spend as much time in drafting something like this, the query, because then you want it to get it, the better the query, the better the results, right? At the end of the day. So here is where I was saying that you have the choice of selecting the model to use. these would use the most tokens, and of course, going downward in this case. I'm using 4.8. I could even use 5 in this case, but it's going to deplete a number of our credits. So let me use Opus 4.8, which also consumes a lot of the tokens in this case. But also, this is an important task. So for me, I would ask myself, how important is the task I'm working on? So it's very important. Then use the higher reasoning models. If not, use the lower one. So net 5 is pretty decent already. But let me just 4.8 for our purposes. So I'm gonna let that run and just let it run. It will ask me questions. Now, the one thing you can't do when you're using AI, you can't leave it and then go and sleep and wait for the results. You'll find that it stopped because I've told you to clarify. You'll find that it stopped midway and it has not done any work. It's like having an analyst and tell them, I don't know, build this financial model, etc. And then they're just like, oh my goodness, I can't find the model. What do I do? AI is like that. The only thing it won't ping you and tell you, sorry, I didn't find the financial model. Okay, cool. So that's the first task. And we'll keep switching between to see how it's doing. Right? Let me do the second one. I want to use Crunch to just show you how the experience could be different. I also have shortcut here, which we've used before. So it's telling me what it's doing, what it's finding, and so forth. So I'm going to let that run. So let me open the next spreadsheet here, which I've already opened, which is on model review. So I have a spreadsheet here which has some errors. First of all, it's not balancing, and I don't know also what other errors it has on top of that. So just imagine that you build a financial model, you receive a financial model, you're supposed to review it. You're just like, it's not balancing. For me, when it's not balancing, it means that first of all, accounting rules have not been followed. But even when it's balancing, it means the assumptions could be haywire. Finance, corporate finance rules may not be followed. Anything could be wrong in any financial model. So you always have to review your financial model. So in this case, we find that Crunch is very good at model reviews specifically. And the company that's behind these say that it's supposed to be used by the top 1% of companies in the investment banking space and so forth. So you should try it out. And we work with them. I'm going to be honest, we work with them. And if you're interested, we'll share some information on how you can get a discount and so forth. But I'll let you be the judge once you've tried it. They give some credits just for trial. And then after that, you'll see what you want to use. So for Crunch, I'd already done the query, but I'm just going to pick these query that I've done here. And I'm going to drop it in here. The one thing that Crunch has is that you can tell it to improve your prompt. So my initial prompt is that you're an experienced senior analyst and model reviewer. Review this financial model for any errors around the key assumptions, Excel issues, I tell it accounting issues, any obvious finance errors. Then I tell it once done, generate a report as an extra sheet in Excel, showing the error, the link to the error, the impact of the error, color-coded red for high, orange for medium, yellow for low, and so forth. So trying to be as explicit as possible. But what Crunch can do is I can tell it to improve this prompt. And what it will do is that it will take the prompt I've given and it will try and create more flesh around it so that it's able to interpret it better and use it in this case. So as you can tell, it has done that here. So if you go and you're saying review the financial model key assumption, you see create new sheet label error report. I didn't say that, but it has added that. The error description, cell reference, impact, severity, red, high, etc. It says format the impact column with color coding. As specified, include all errors found, sorted by impact, severity, high, and so forth. Right? So I'm just gonna give it that instruction. So I'm gonna let that run also. So that's running on the other. So let's go back to our Claude to see what Claude is asking. You see, it started asking the question. So it says, which FinStat sheet should feed the valuation? So this is a shilling financial model. So I'm gonna say the KES. It tells me, should the terminal exit value carry any liquidity discount? The example, 30%. No, I will not use any, I won't use that because this is for the DCF. I'm going to say no discount on the terminal value. Then tell me, do you want to use the equity value taken down to a price per share needs a share count? Yes, I want to get to the share price. Okay. So it continues. So it tells me I need these assumptions before I can proceed. I think I've answered the question it has. So it's continuing. So it's going to ask me some questions around maybe some of these assumptions now. So I should be ready with that. But you can go back to the other side and see what Crunch is asking. Crunch is asking what sheets should it be looking at, right? So not to waste my tokens. I know there's no errors in my tag, in my cover page. Insert USD is an exit, is a presentation sheet. Maybe I'll just add it just for the sake. Common size, probably there's no errors. I created that myself. I'm just going to tell you just to review all these sheets. Scenario, no. So I'm just going to select, let me just select all of them. Okay, sorry, I thought we were selecting everything and then leaving the rest. Temp, there's nothing there to check. Working capital, so this one select all the sheets. Here, the whole idea is that you don't waste your tokens. So if you know for sure some sheets do not have any errors, there's no point of telling you to check them. So for instance, here I'm being superfluous because I know the financial statements USD and the financial statements sheet specifically do not have any errors. They're presentation sheets, so they just take in the input, but I'm just going to add them just for the sake, but ideally I would not add a token. So I'm just going to tell you, start the check. Case. So I'll leave that checking, then I'll go back to my, and I guess this is working in the new, give me the 6 value. So this is how it works now going forward. You just query and then you keep going back and forth. So it tells me it needs a couple of inputs. The first input, it needs the terminal value work, the rate to discount, for example, to 20%. Please confirm each. So I'm going to take all of them. On number 1, I'm going to say use, let's just use a figure. I'll tell it, go to the demo online and create the work. And this is a Kenyan company in the manufacturing sector. Corporate. I'm just trying to give it a sense of the stage of the company, corporate, mature business. But it's going to the Damodaran, it knows the country where the company is being modeled from, so it can pick the analysis for Kenya. The sector is manufacturing and the stage of the business. So I'll tell it for that terminal growth rate on number 2. And I'll say on 2, use 5%. Then it tells me the EV to EBITDA multiple. On 3, I'll tell it research on best multiples. Review and give citations of each multiple. I will also add that it's a tobacco manufacturing company. And then let's see the valuation date. That's number 4. So I'm going to just go to number 4. I'm going to say 31st December 2025. Keep moving here. Number 5, forecast horizon 2026. So terminal value. That's number 5. Okay, the assumptions. Your confusion, brother. Number 6, shares outstanding, tell it 100 million. I know this from, because this is a model we created. So 100 million, so I think that's it. So gonna keep running. We can go back to see what Crunch is doing on the other side. It's continuing. So I think we're gonna let it just keep going. So as it continues, it will show you then where it has finished. So it has checked these ones. And I think the report should be getting prepared. In this case, we'll have a look at the reports in a second. It's gonna, and then we'll come back just to see. Okay, so it's going on. So the idea is just to keep monitoring what it's doing and whether it has any queries that it needs to ask you. So rather than have you just stare at this happening in the background, I just want to ask Joyce just to, let's see if there's anything. Joyce, just quickly come in, just to share maybe what next steps would look like, and then we'll come back and just look at where the query has gotten us to. I'll keep monitoring this, and I hope by the time we are hitting 12 o'clock, we'll have the results. Let's see how fast the model runs. Joyce, do you want to come in for maybe a few minutes, just one or two, so that you can just share what the next steps would look like for anyone who's interested to pursue this?
Yes, thank you so much, SG. As you can see, we need this training. And if you want this training, we have a cohort coming up in August. We have two trainings, one that will take 6 weeks, and the next one will take about 3 days. So the 6 weeks is for someone maybe who cannot be in Nairobi for the physical training. So the 6 weeks training will start from 12th of August, and the one for 3 days from 19th of August. The cost is 1,000 USD plus VAT. The content is the same. So as you've seen, we really need this training. Hence the reason why we decided to have 6 weeks and 3 days training. For the 6 weeks, your learning journey will have about 3 phases: foundation, model build, analysis, and presentation. But at the end of it all, you'll be able to build, by the end of these 3 days or the 6 weeks, you won't just know AI tools. Like now there's someone who's chatting me, it's the first time they're hearing about Crunched. So you'll be able to build your financial model from the scratch using AI. Thank you. Back to you, SG.
Thanks, Joyce. Let me reshare my screen. And so we look forward to spending more time. We are running through these. The trainings they take over. The physical one is 3 days. And the beauty about that is then we can ask all the questions. We can spend more time so like to speak about how we query and everything. So let's see. Crunch, I think it's done, if I'm not. It says complete the error report. A sheet is built with all 43 issues found, sorted by severity and color. So we can review that real quick just to show what has happened. We have our error report here. And the first thing to remember when you're reviewing some of these things is that some of them could be false negatives, right? Where it's not an actual error. So, or it's something that you know about. So it's good to review. So you can't just take this and say, let me just send it out. And so, that's why it's important to review. But at least if you look at these, tells this error description, it says the balance sheet does, let me increase the size here so that you can see. The balance sheet does not balance by this figure, 690 USD in 2027 and 4,300 in 2028. So it tells me where the error is, and then cells C63 incorrectly uses Q61 instead of R61, and I've taken. And I can go to these sheets to this specific one. Now, what I didn't do here is I should have told it to link, but I didn't tell it to link. I should have told it to link, and then it would have linked this thing. But I guess if I had just an equal sign as a font, it should link it. That's another thing we could do. Okay. Okay, but I can go to these specific cells and try to, fix each of these, right? One by one, I review it. Now, the beauty of Crunch is I could actually tell it to fix some of the errors, right? And to tell me how it has done the fixing of the errors. So what I'm going to do is, I won't fix all the errors because I'm not going through this and don't have enough time to do it, right? I'm just going to tell it, please fix the errors that lead the balance sheet. Balance. And share what you have done. So, of course, this is not how I would prompt. I would take a bit more time, but I'm going to tell it just to improve my query in this case. Fix the errors causing the balance sheet not to balance in 2027 and 2028. document each fix applied, including the cell reference, the error found, and the correction made. So let's say this should be fast for Crunch. So I'm going to let it run. And that's one of the experiences we've had. When we ask Crunch to do something and Claude to do something, we find that Crunch does it much faster because Crunch has been trained specifically for financial modeling. Right? So you'll see, and that's why it has already finished. If you give it the same query, you'll see that it moves quite fast. So let's go back to Claude just to see where Claude has gotten to. Claude is continuing. It's done a couple of things. The beauty about this is that it advises you what it's doing. It has all the inputs, work bottom up using CAPM, Kenya, KES, the Modern framework. So it says unlevered beta, it has found all these things, EV to EBITDA, it has found 7 times using Philip Morris and so forth. Then terminal growth of 5%. It's reading the KES financial statements, then to link, and then it will build. So still building, so it will take a bit of time. But just remember, guys, that if I told you to do the same work, it was not work as we waited at the cost of capital, but the same piece of task that we're discussing here. And I told you we have a training, please do it really fast. I don't think anybody could do the 2 tasks at the same time. And I guess this is where AI helps you in terms of efficiency, right? You can move things much faster in this case. Of course, we've not spent the time on reviewing the work really well. So that's something else. But it's going to build this. So let's see what happens. So Crunch is doing this. Yeah. And so that's working in the new age, unfortunately. So we're going to lose our jobs. Who knows? If we don't know how to use the tools, for sure we're going to lose our jobs. I can tell you for free. If you're really good at using the tools, we'll probably get better output out of this, and so you should get promoted above those who've not gotten out to know how to use the tools. So I would say please learn how to use the tools. YouTube has a lot of free resources. Attend our training. I think it will be more practical, more focused on financial modeling. Yeah, and let me just share some quick thoughts so that as this finishes, we don't keep it longer. And some slides here. There's something I wanted just to quickly share. Let's see that out. So let me just share these really quick as this keeps moving. Now you're wondering, okay, I've seen the tools you use, I've seen the prompts you're using, and so forth. Should you attend the training? I would say please come. The reason why you should come for the training is that we'll have more case studies. First of all, we're just showcasing a tip of the iceberg of what you can be able to do. Someone asked, can you train an agent? We'll be doing that kind of work using stuff like core work, which you can train, and then I don't have to keep doing the same queries over and over. All I will do is just apply the skill called valuation to this spreadsheet, and it will just do the valuation. I don't have to retrain it. So more workflows, more skills, and so forth. We'll spend more time on just the modeling itself. Also, if you have any questions around modeling, for you to be good at modeling using AI, you need to first of all be good at modeling. That's my honest view, because AI can do something and hallucinate because it's not perfect. So if you're good at financial modeling in the first place, then you can review really well and you can find out why it has hallucinated. We'll do the full AI workflow. We'll create dashboards, the valuation report itself out of the valuation that we create. We'll do the presentation, PPT. So we'll move these also to PowerPoint. If you have templates, we'll ask how can we incorporate those templates to ensure that the report you're getting is 90% or 80% in end to end in this case. And then we'll have a capstone project. So the people who attend the trainings, you'll work on a capstone project. We'll share something with you. And you can work on it across. If you have something that you want to be working on the background and getting feedback from us, you can also do that. But at least we'll have a capstone project, so that it's very hands-on. Yeah, and then I would say that you will have access to our team if you have additional questions. Of course, everybody who's going to attend the training, we're going to create a network with them, different professionals. If you're interested in trying out Crunch, and we'll share these in a bit in the chat, please scan this QR code. If you register for these, what we'll do is that the team from Crunch then will get in touch with you. There's some discounts you'll get out of that. And then if you want to learn more about AI, or if you're interested to just hear more of these kinds of conversations, I started a podcast called China AI, which just talks about what's happening in AI in the continent. We feature different speakers, not only in finance, across. and just discuss practical conversations around AI, how people are using AI to just do some impactful things across the continent. So feel free to scan the QR code if you want, and then we have a weekly newsletter where we share some tips, practical tips when you're using AI that could be useful to you. Some key takeaways, but before the key takeaways, let's see where we're at. So, and says, complete. Both balance sheet errors are fixed and verified. Each fix is documented in the error report sheet. So let's go to the error report sheet here. So it says this all has happened. So the errors found, and just format this properly. It says what you did, 2027 balance sheet, what the issue was. Which is, I will not review this because we're running out of time, but I'll just cross-check to see that it has, the thing is balancing now. Yes, it is balancing. It has applied the fix in the financial model. Of course, I should have first of all read very clearly what it said it was going to do. I did not do that. So I cheated to a certain extent. Let's see where Claude is on its piece of work. So it's saying, I'll just allow it to just make all the changes it needs to change. So asking me, can it make changes? And that's the problem of leaving AI and just going to sleep. And then you come back in the morning and find that no work was done because it stopped. Now it had stopped, it seems. So I don't think we'll see, Claude's response. Claude tends to work a bit slower, but at least you can tell it's already started creating the valuation sheet here. How many more minutes do we have? We have 1 minute and 1 minute to go. If you allow us, and if you're interested, for those who are interested, they can stay on and we can let Claude run all the way till the end so that you realize that we didn't just send you a spreadsheet. There it is. It's populating the different items that it's using. In this case, corporate tax rate, 10-year government rate. It's formatted using the fast approach, which is any inputs should be in light yellow. So that's really good progress there. So it will keep building and we can review that. But let's just see if there's any questions as we wait for it to finish. Okay. So I'm seeing AI used before modeling, for reporting, more on the business development side, like building deal pipelines, investor mapping, identifying potential investors. You can, here you'd have to create agents. I'm looking at the question from Bonita. You can create some agents that can help you to do some of these pieces of work. I don't think it will do everything 100%, probably 80, 90%, then it will help you to do the final bit. And again, just to sell the training, because my marketing team has told me I have to sell it. If you go for the training, we'll try out to create some of these simple agents, because we'll have 3 days or we'll have a whole 6 weeks to work together in doing this. So let's see that, as you can tell, we're continuing in the background. This keeps going on. Seeing Kelvin Bogwa. Bogwa, good to see you. Let's see if there's any questions I'm missing here. Are there any questions you should be answering? We wait for this to come to an end. How do you get in touch to discuss collaboration on funding options? I got your name. Okay. Jane, you can just write to us. We'll share with you on my email. Yeah, I think we're almost at the end here. So you can apply for the training. For those who want to stay, please stay. I know we've ran out of time officially, 12:01. We're going to sit here and wait for Claude to say it has finished the work. Let's see. It's doing step 1, which is creating the sheet. Then it will build the work and the assumptions, etc. So this may take another 10 minutes or thereabouts. So, but I think already you can see what it's doing, right? It's taken the assumptions from the Ramburan website. I should have told it to put all the link sources, or maybe it's going to do that later. But at least I have all the assumptions here. The calculations for the free cash flows to the farm, the discounting is being done this year. Now, these are things that if I had a query, if I had a skill pre-created, I didn't have to query this. I should have just told it to do it and it just does it. But it keeps moving. Any burning questions? Or should we be saying anything? So these were the key takeaways, which were just I think I've mentioned it separately. I'm not going to go back to these items. The one I'll just emphasize on this idea of privacy and governance, just to always make sure that you're following the protocols your organization has set, that you're respecting confidentiality agreements, you're not uploading any confidential information into any of these rules, and then of course 10 to 10 as always. So yes, thank you. For those who have to drop off, feel free to. For those who can still stay, please stay with us for a few more minutes, then you can get the results. Are there specific trainings for beginners in financial modeling? Yes, we have our e-learning content on financial modeling. I think someone can type that, learn.investia.com, where you can learn financial modeling only, and then you can add on to that if you want to do the AI bit, which is what you're going to focus on. Very important to just mention that for the training we're going to be running, it's going to be assuming that you can already build a financial model to a certain extent. So you don't sort of like go back to the beginning. And so it's going to be a bit more advanced. So it might help for you to go through our online financial modeling training. And then after that, you come for this training, and that's why we have a whole month where you can access that. I think it's $400 if you want to access our e-learning or online financial modeling training. Yes, the recording will be shared to all who registered for this. Thanks, Krista, for sharing learn.investor.com. Let me just pause for a second and ask Joyce or the team or Wilfred, anyone, if there's anything I should be saying before we finish.
There is a question from Bonita. This has really been insightful. Thanks, Stephen. I'm curious whether you've seen AI being used beyond modeling and reporting, more on the business development side, like building deal pipelines, investor mapping, identifying potential investors, or matching business projects with the right investors. Are there any tools or workflows you'd recommend for that?
Yes, and I was saying that we can actually, not specific tools, but using the general LLMs to train them to be able to do some of the things you want to do. So what we would need to do is to understand what it is exactly you want to do, and then we can see whether we can train them a tool to be able to do that. So yes, Bonita, the answer is yes. There's a bit more, I guess we can even schedule a conversation and see what you want to do and see how we can support with that. But just look at this, guys. I think our model is done actually. It's saying it's finished, and thank God, because it's 12:05, so 5 minutes only. We have the whole DCF done in record time. We have the valuation for the company. Here it does say that the value is 360. I think it's taking an average of the two valuations using the two different approaches. Of course, we need to review this, right? We need to review this. We can't just take it for granted that what has been done is correct. But at least this gives you, I would say, this is 70–80% in. So if you're just reviewing in this case to make sure it's using the correct EBITDA, that these sources are cited, because AI has been known to hallucinate, where it just gets its own sources in this case. So there's several things you can do here, but I hope this has been insightful to you. You'll get a copy of the recording, and indeed, if you can join us for the training, happy to host you and to have you, and then where we can discuss much more. So I'm just gonna say thank you very much for joining us. I think we do need to finish the session. Joyce or Priska, over to you. I think we've accomplished the task we set out to. We reviewed a financial model and we built a whole valuation. Thank you. Over to you.
Yes, just to answer one question from Maroiro Njoroge. I am in MFI space, and there is implication of IFRS 9 ECL provisions. Can this asset help with ECL modeling?
Oh. Well, I'm going to say, let's have a conversation, right? I need to understand more what you mean. You've used some serious acronyms here. I know IFRS 9. I've not spent enough time on ECL modeling, but I'll tell you, AI can do many things when you train it. Yeah? So we can have a conversation. I think you can reach out to us. Type in my email here. My email, just in case you want to get in touch. and then we can try to answer some of those questions. Okay, Joyce, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you everyone for joining us. We appreciate your questions. We will share a copy of the recording with you in a bit. So thank you everyone and have a good rest of the afternoon and week. Bye-bye.